Having been around the undocumented workers since I was 9 years of age, I've come to know them quite well. They're not bad folks. Most of them are here just to earn money so they can make a better life than they could if they were living at home. Now, they come here with one idea. That's to work as much as they can, as fast as they can, and make as much money as they can in the shortest time possible. To that end, they don't want to work 8 hours. Even 10 hours is light for them. 12 to 15 hours is preferable. They don't want to work 5 days a week. 6 days a week is great, and 7 days of the week would be perfect. Now, they work for a flat fee, and in 1963, as it is today, their formula for pay was very simple. They worked for X number of dollars an hour times number of hours worked equaled pay. There were no deductions to their paycheck. It's only been relatively lately that many of them have gotten tax ID numbers. They all don't have tax ID numbers, but quite a few of them do. But the deductions for Social Security Administration, Medicare, and unemployment, which would be being paid if Americans were working those jobs, it's not taken out. And quite honestly, because these are undocumented workers, the employers don't have to pay the matching funds to Social Security Administration as if American workers were there. Now, in the beginning, in 1963, there was only about 1 million of them here. And most of them worked in the farms, or in the orchards, or in the vineyards. And the American farmer couldn't afford to pay the undocumented worker any more than he could afford to pay the American worker. And anybody who's ever been around this type of work knows it's seasonal. Planting season and harvest season, there's plenty of work. But in the off-season, in the in-between season, there's very little work. So the undocumented worker, he had to go out and find other jobs. In the beginning in 1963, they had almost no skills, so that meant manual labor. Hauling things, and well, the only places they could really haul things was in construction. So they hauled bricks, block, rebar, stone, bags of cement. They also hauled boards and shingles, plywood, windows, and just about anything else that needed to be hauled up to the work site. Well, even after doing all that hauling, there was times that they'd be not having much work to do, so they'd start learning. And today, they do so very much more than just manual labor in construction sites. What kind of jobs do they have today? There's still about 1 million of them out there working in the farms, the orchards, and the vineyards. But there's over 10 million of them. So they're definitely not all working on the farms. No, many of them can work in all phases of construction. Roofing and shingles, framework, cement work to lay foundations, masonry work with rocks, bricks, or block, put up siding, drywall and sheetrock in the inside of the house, electrical and plumbing. They install countertops and granite countertops and cabinetry. And let's not forget, they also do painting. So they can just about build your entire house. Now you move outside, and they work in landscaping. They can put in irrigation systems, They can install a brand new yard for you, brand new garden for you, brand new swimming pool, and they can maintain all of these. You keep working and they move on over to the automotive fields. They can do body and fender and paint, reupholster your car, replace the glass. In the mechanics fields, they can repair your motor, your transmission, your differential, or your transaxles, brakes, and they can also do your electrical problems, install electronic stereo systems or entertainment systems, and let's not forget they can also do hydraulics. Moving out of those fields, we also find that they're now in all phases of janitorial service, and they're cleaning up shopping centers, malls, office parks, restaurants, and fast food restaurants. They work in laundries for hospitals, and of course let's not forget the live-in nannies or caregivers to the people that are in need of having such help. All of these jobs are not jobs that Americans don't want. Americans once had all of these jobs. Now, because it's perceived that the undocumented immigrant worker is so much cheaper than the American worker, the undocumented immigrant worker gets work before an American will. Now wait a minute. Is it really cheaper to hire an undocumented immigrant worker? The undocumented immigrant worker, they know what overtime pay is, and they know or expect to be working overtime. It's the only benefit they're going to get, so they don't want to go to work without getting paid overtime pay from the very first hour that they go to work. In today's market, that means $10 an hour. In construction, again, they're not paying the Social Security matching funds, and quite honestly, in order to get done with their jobs a little bit quicker so they can turn over their profit margin, they hire even additional workers so they can go and flip these jobs that they bid on as fast as they can. Well, wait a minute. All of these things I'm explaining are completely illegal in the American workforce. We can't work and not pay those things. They're taken out automatically by deductions. Our employers can't get away with not paying the matching funds. They have to pay them. And that's why it is much preferable to hire an undocumented worker over an American in many of these fields. And that's where the double standard comes in. Now imagine if you take a look at the guest worker program, I'm pretty sure the guest workers are not making any of these payments either, and their employers are not paying into Social Security matching funds, not any more than the people that hire undocumented workers are. This discrimination against Americans here in America has to stop, and it has to stop today. What it's going to take an act of Congress, a bipartisan group, and you're going to have to sit there and you're going to have to enforce this law. And that is, if you work in America and you're taking an American paycheck, you're going to have an American deduction. Everybody who works in the country is going to have the same deductions taken out of their pay. We can't have discrimination out there. And quite honestly, over on the guest worker side of the house, they too will have to make these same payments. I don't care if it has to go to a general fund. These payments have to be gone. And all employers should have to pay matching funds on all salaries of all employees that work for them. If not, the double standard will continue. But quite honestly, now that law enforcement knows what to look for, there should not be anybody working any longer until we start correcting these problems. On the other hand, Congress and Mr. President, I have gotten you 100,000 uniformed assistants to help you with your Border Patrol problem, and it's not costing the taxpayers one extra dime. When I come back, we'll take a look at ways to fix the problems that have been caused by a faulty government over the last 50 years in this area.